in the first episode of how I discovered narcissism, we covered a lot of information about my childhood. One of the things I would like to recap is about my mom watching me through the window, a lot of watching, okay? Being very mean to me, which, in turn I find out, some of this watching is connected to emotional abuse and what people can't see. Yes, it was a very good upbringing. I commend her for doing the best she knew how with what she had. Nevertheless, there are some things that could have and should have been corrected. And I don't believe that her desire was or even is to correct those things. People on the outside could see, oh my gosh, she's got this, she's got that, and all of these fine things, a car, a moped, skates, a 10-speed bike, nice clothes. They see all of these things. However, what they didn't see was that there was no emotional bonding, no emotional connection. I had to go to my girlfriend's moms for information and friends about the birds and the bees. I would always have to contact or talk to someone outside the home. I never felt comfortable going to her or expressing anything to her that I needed to know about anything. She was not approachable. I just could not do that. I honestly felt like she did not like me. So in that last video, I talked about how I went to Germany. I got married and I married my high school sweetheart. And my dad, he came to the wedding. My mom was on a cruise. She went on a cruise and a trip, so there was, again, no support there. So she went and did her thing. She said it was already booked. And with my dad, everything was nice. I know that I had that favor, but I always felt a need when I was around him to cover up. I expressed that in the last video, how I felt very frigid. So that kind of interfered with my life, with my husband, actually. So where we dropped off the last video, we'll pick up from there, where I did not do the opening act for 95 South, and I ended up giving my life to the Lord. And that is where we're going to start. So if you missed the last video, go back and watch it. We're picking up where we left off. Let's get ready. Get your tea, get your popcorn, and everything. Call a phone, tell a friend. Do what you got to do. It's your girl, Coach Gwen. Let's get into how I discovered what narcissism is. That's why we're here. Let's get into it. I gave my life to the Lord because I didn't have the support that I needed to become this rapper girl, right? And my son, I had my son. My credit was bad, and I was on the serving line in the Army at work. And I heard the Lord speaking to me, wooing me, so to speak, right? So I went into the bathroom. I asked my sergeant, is it okay if I go to the latrine? So I went to the latrine, and I just felt this wooing and the Lord saying to me, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. So you know how ladies, how we are dramatic and crying and looking in the mirror the whole night. So I'm like, oh, looking in the mirror. So I was like, okay, God. Okay, I'm going to taste and see that the Lord is good. I'm going to do this. I didn't get saved in the church. Like somebody else, that may be their story. But no, that's not my story. I can't give credit and honor to nobody but God, because that's where he saved me at, in the latrine at Fort Stewart, Georgia. In the ladies' room, in the bathroom, in the latrine. So looking in the mirror, I said, okay, God, because listen, I couldn't get bubble gum on credit. Like, I went to all the local furniture stores. They wouldn't give me anything. So I was kind of like pregnant, sleeping on the floor. It was just a mess. So once I gave my life to the Lord and he said, taste and see that the Lord is good, I agreed. I said, okay, God, I'm going to do just that. And so I felt another wooing to try again. Go ahead and try again. Try to apply to get some furniture. Stop sleeping on the floor. Try, you know, I needed a crib. I needed things. And the husband that I had married, child, let me tell you, we ended up getting divorced because he was like Nino Brown and all this stuff had come on the scene, and this joker wanted to try. He will even tell you, I'm Rick James, okay? He wanted to try everything. I had told him when we was overseas, I said, listen here, when we get back stateside and you keep trying all this stuff, you know, I'm not gonna be with you. And I meant what I said, and I mean what I say. So he kept going, and I said, hey, I can't do this anymore. Bills weren't getting paid, lights getting cut off, I'm sleeping on the floor, and I mean, it's just a mess. So if I gotta be the man in the relationship, then what do I need with one, right? So I was like, okay, this is too much. Like it was out of hand. So the lady at the Haverty's furniture store in Savannah, Georgia, she pulled up my credit and she said, okay, we're going to do this, you know, because she saw me in my uniform and everything. She said, you know, pick out something, whatever you want, and we'll work with you. So I went and I picked out something, and I got the tall dresser armoire. I got the long dresser with the bookcase headboard and the footboard and the headboard with the big balls on there. And I was like, I really like this one. And she said, go ahead and get it. So she extended me a line of credit for like $3,000 to get this set. And she told me, if you promise to pay on time, I will give you free delivery. So I was like, oh, okay, yes, I absolutely promised to pay. So listen, I couldn't get it because I had a student loan that I had a default. Y'all probably know all about the default student loan, right? I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pay that thing. So I told the lady, I said, yeah, go ahead. You know, I promise, if you give me this line of credit, I promise you I will pay every penny back. So she was like, okay, we're going to give you the loan and we'll deliver it to your house. So I got this bedroom set. I got the furniture. I got him a crib. I got everything I needed to start it off. So I went ahead and you know, started talking to pastors. And at that time, it was like so hard to get a divorce. Like, it was so hard to talk to somebody about trying to get a divorce because nobody wants to give you the information and tell you, okay, yeah, go ahead. Nobody wants to tell you to get a divorce, you know, back then. They'll just say, well, yeah, you know, well, God hates divorce. So I'm praying and praying and praying like, Lord, like, I need an out. I mean, you know, please help me. So that's another testimony. But the Lord walked me out of that situation. And then I found out it was a scripture that was applied to that situation. So, you know, the way it was spoken to me in my spirit was, you know, inch by inch, step by step, this is the road you should take. But the Bible says you'll hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. And so that is how I was led out of that very turbulent and abusive marriage with my ex crazy husband. Now, he did weed. I know some of you saying, well, how did he do drugs and he's in the military? Well, honey, he found a way. Honey, he found a way. He was always doing weed. He smoked weed. He was in for like almost 10 years and he did weed the entire time. Like, when people want to smoke weed, you smoke it. Okay, there's no stopping people from smoking weed when they want to smoke. This joker, he would drink like gallons and gallons of water, and his stomach would be like out to here. And he would drink all this water and just pee clear water. Y'all is so crazy. He would pee crystal clear water so that he could pass the urinalysis, and he would pass. He had somebody give him a heads up. They would give him a heads up that they were having a urinalysis, and he would drink all this water, and he would pee crystal clear water, and he would pass the urinalysis. So this went on and on for years. And he found out he could get away with it, and he just kept going next level, next level, next level, to the point where, you know, he did crack. So I had to let him go. That was like a total no-no. Plus we stayed on post in government quarters. So it's like, bro, you got to go. Like, you really got to go. So he left, long story short. Now, I did not want to come home. I did my time, my 4 years, and I didn't want to come home, right? I was struggling with coming back to my hometown, my home of record, because I didn't feel like, you know, I had that family unit that I was really connected to. I just didn't feel that. I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't want to go back to the house. Okay, that house that I grew up in. My dad was still there with his, you know, girlfriends, women, whatever. And my sister was gone. You know, my mom never really, you know, stayed the night over her house. You know, I just didn't know what there was to go home to. So I met someone, and I ended up remarrying. Did I remarry to keep from going home? No. I thought I married for love. I really did. But at the same time, there was a benefit there of just not going home. So I ended up, you know, doing his tour with him. He did a career tour, and that allowed me to work on post and do a career as well. So that's called an Army civilian. So I worked on post going through on tour with him. So that was interesting because we stayed in different places, from Georgia to Missouri to Kentucky, back to Missouri to South Carolina, and visiting everywhere in between. So it was a very arduous journey. It was a very long journey. And by this time, I had a daughter with my second husband. So I had my daughter, and you know, my kids kept getting uprooted. We were moving like almost like literally every 4 years. So it was a very arduous journey. And so shout out to all of my military people, military brats. I understand your journey. You don't really have roots laid down anywhere. So I salute you all. So we're moving around. Now, everywhere we moved, I did set up shop for family to come visit, but you know, I can count the times on one hand that actually happened, right? I would always do the work and go home to visit and take the whole family, and we would go home. And you know, stay at my dad's or a hotel, as long as, you know, we are together, I'm comfortable with that. Or we would stay, you know, somewhere else at a hotel or something like that. But nobody never really came, I think, you know, to visit. Maybe my sister came once. My mom, I had asked her to come when I was having my kids, and she said to me, well, nobody was there when I had my children. You know, so that was, I guess, a no. So she didn't come even when I had my children by C-section. She did not come, okay? So I went through that. I had graduated from the Army alone. I had graduated from college alone with the little family that we had. So the Thanksgiving, the Christmases, the graduation celebrations, all of that was pretty much in the military lifestyle without any family or family support or any of that. And so that's the lifestyle, a very tough lifestyle of military personnel. So I want to say that even in my trips coming home, the extension of staying at my mom's house was there, the welcome, it was extended. However, I was never picked up from the airport by her. I was never, the connection just wasn't there. And I didn't absolutely feel like welcome to stay at her house. It was extended though, but I never stayed there. So with all of that being said, I want to end this video because that is pretty much where I'm going to leave off at. But I want to pick up at what happened after my tour. This is where we're going next. After my tour ended 30 years later, okay, 30 years later, when I moved back home and all of the military was over, baby, that's when the stuff popped off. That's when I discovered what narcissism really, truly is. Stuff got real strange. I'm so glad that I moved home, but it took me through hell. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to come back for episode 3. I love you. Be immensely blessed. See you in the next video.
God is in this story.